On to the next. I guess another quick turnaround. Certainly headed to Chapel Hill. Really pleased, obviously, with the way we finished things up on Saturday, and like the way our guys played, and hope we can have a similar type performance on Tuesday. North Carolina, I think, a little bit different. They're playing smaller than they have in the past at times. Smaller lineups. Luke May at the 5 and 4 perimeter players. I think they shoot the ball exceptionally well and still rebounded. Now, that's one of the more impressive things with what they do is doesn't matter who's there. They've got young, big guys, but every year it just seems like you look at their stats and they're plus 12 in rebounding. And so they do as good a job of coaching that and getting their guys to rebound as anybody in the country. Transition defense, as usual, is always a staple of what you have to do to try to play well against them. And then offensively for us, we need to take care of the ball and shoot the ball well.
No matter who's on the court for them, it all still goes through Joel Berry. Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy that has the ball a lot, but I would say that, I think other guys are doing a little bit more. Kenny Williams seems to be pretty aggressive, very efficient player. I think he's an underrated player. When you look at his numbers, I think he's a guy that shoots it well, high percentages, takes care of the ball 2-to-1, almost assist turnover. Joel Berry certainly is terrific. Really hurt us here last year, made a bunch of huge big shots, and certainly is one of their leaders and a guy that'll be difficult to guard for sure.
They play different defensively this year?
Not a lot, no. They're still primarily man-to-man, deny a lot of passes. Different lineups, a little more aggressive than others, but it's pretty much most of the same type of Carolina defense. Running jumps on.
How do you keep your guys fresh now that this is third game in 5 days?
Yeah, that's, we met yesterday and watched some film again and did a little light lifting, and we worked out some guys that hadn't been playing as much to make sure that they keep getting better. Did a lot of skill work. The older guys, we really didn't do much. We'll do a little bit today. Try to go a good hour, maybe an hour 15 at the most today, and then we'll meet tonight and meet in the morning. Try to really be sharp mentally with what we got to do to be prepared. But it's hard. This is a lot. It's just obviously with 2 of the 3 games being on the road, it feels like you just you didn't even unpack really, and so it's just kind of time to go again. And so we'll talk about that a little bit between now and we leave here soon.
How much estimate? How much sleep have you got in the last 5 nights?
Yeah, not a lot. A little more last night, but not a lot. It's just been, ripping and running, and obviously everything from trying to watch film on North Carolina, still watching Miami stuff, the night after the game to try to use that as a teaching thing yesterday, which I thought was good. And obviously we've been watching a bunch of North Carolina and then doing a bunch of media stuff too. There's been a lot going on here the last 48 hours, but it'll be nice here. It'll die down a little bit. We can just kind of have a good practice today, get on the plane, get up there, meet with the guys, kind of get up in the morning, have another good meeting, and go shoot and kind of finish some last minute things with the game plan and kind of get ready to go.
When Mark was just starting his transfer process, at what point did he get on y'all's radar?
Well, he was a guy I kind of knew about because I had an in up there just with Billy Donlin, one of my former players, was an assistant, and so I kind of knew that, hey, looks like there's a good chance he might leave. And so when the season was over and it kind of became official, and it wasn't over for a long time because Michigan played well into the NCAA tournament, at some point then we began the process, and I flew up and met with Mark and his parents up in Ann Arbor, and talked about Clemson and why I thought it would be a good fit. And, he went and visited Clemson and Creighton and Vanderbilt, and I think he had a good visit. he and his parents came down. We had a really nice time, and I think he felt comfortable with our guys in this setting, and you know, it's been great for us. He's been terrific. As much and about his approach and who he is as a person is you know, he's an unselfish guy and team guy, and you know, I've told him there have been some games where when we play against teams that are really small, that it's sometimes harder to get you in there as much as I would like, and he hasn't batted an eye. You know, I know there was a game or two when he was a little upset with me, and rightfully so, probably. You know, I know one game, I can't remember which one it was now, but I really apologized to him that I should have played him more. You know, just kind of things like that happen, but Mark's not anybody that ever, nothing lingers. He's a grown-up and conducts himself as such. And obviously a lot of that's credit to who he is and his family and you know, how they did things at Michigan as well. You
have a lot of guys that have never played up there. Is that a good thing, considering that, you know?
No, I think to be honest with you, I think it's better if you've been in that environment. I think the more times you're in those kinds of environments, I think the better. You know, it's different. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, the first time we walk in when you're a freshman, you're going to look around for a while, and you know, you hope that once the game gets going that you're not looking around still, because if you're looking around, it's not going to go good. And you won't be out there a long time. For a good chance to look around a long time on the bench. But I think being in these environments, being in these arenas multiple times is much better for your opportunity to play well.
Have you ever gotten the impression, I know you guys are some business as usual, but out of North Carolina going to play up there in the times you have, knowing the street, that North Carolina tends to...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's human nature. Nobody wants to be the team to lose to Clemson. So, like, we don't ever... I mean, they're not going to not be ready for the game because of that. And, you know, you're not going to catch them on a night when they're not prepared or they're not ready, because they're hearing about it too. And so it's just, you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, you know, you're going to play a great team that's well coached in a very difficult environment, and it's going to be that way for a long time. And, you know, I would guess, you know, that their coaches don't talk about it. We probably don't talk about it. It's just a game that the media talks about a lot, but at the end of the day, it's just another game, and we all approach it the same way.
I mean, like the body language of players on their team early in the game, like more so than any other road game you play when you go there, because the guys have heard about the media.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they react to all that, but I would assume that if I was a player at North Carolina and I was a coach at North Carolina, that's how I would approach it. And, you know, I'm sure that's part of it. I don't think that they, you know, they're not prepared to sleepwalk. They don't sleepwalk through many games. You know, nobody at this level does that very often, but there are times when you can look past one, and I think part of the fact that this is talked about so much probably lends itself to them not really doing that. And so, whatever that's worth.
The other day, Dante said that he don't care what people say about them, or, you know, they just want to surprise people because they know what they can do. Having that kind of attitude going into this kind of game where nobody's going to give them a chance, how much does that help your guys to have that attitude?
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing with that is more just our team has believed in each other really from the beginning. And I told our team right away, really, when we got back from Spain and started meeting this year, that I didn't see why we couldn't be really good. And I thought we had good players, thought we had experience. I liked the way our team interacted in Spain and how we've been practicing in the summer. And so I fully expected us to play well this year. And I think the coaches on our staff all agreed with that and felt that way. I don't think none of us in any way were surprised by it. Now, at the end of the day, you still got to do it, and your players got to believe it, you know, because we had been scarred a little bit with some difficult situations last year. But so in terms of I think basically what that's meant is we haven't really looked at what other people have said about us, what our ranking is, preseason, this, that, or the other. We just kind of worry about the simple things of daily improvement and being focused and prepared for when it's time to play. And that's hard to do, you know, for 4 months, but you know, it's the best way for us to improve and continue to get better, and that's what we preached.
Do you remember in the off season when it was pretty clear in your mind that Dante was taking ownership, a new ownership?
Well, I think we all felt like it was going to happen. You know, really one of the key things I thought was when Dante went and played at some of the NBA stuff in the spring or summer, whenever that was, worked out for those teams. He had a month there where he really worked extremely hard in the gym every day with extra shooting, extra time, you know. And I think he felt good about his performance in those, I think it was 3 or 4 tryouts. And I think that the confidence that he gained from that and just kind of he got his swagger back a little bit. And just having met with him that summer and knowing the kind of young man he was, you know, we never doubted that he would play better. We knew that moving him a little bit of a different position, just a different look, the ball would be in his hands in the middle of the floor more. There's some inherent advantages with that. I mean, I know that we all felt like he was going to have a great senior season. And I think he started to believe it maybe, or shake off a little bit of last year in that month when he worked really hard, had some good showings against some of the top players, and then came back. And he's always been an unselfish guy. He's always been you know, sometimes almost too unselfish. He's always been a leader. You know, but I think stepping forward from that experience, I think was really when I saw him change.